I think the line is a little blurred. I think there's a lot of insane tier 2 shown in the past, 2023, 2024 that moved up and done incredible things. But I think the base of a tier 1 player compared to tier 2 is there. Not saying tier 2 players don't have that. It's just the fact that when you're in a tier 1 team, there's more structure, or there's more to the game, if that makes sense. So where you might not experience in tier 2, and you just need the opportunity to experience that structure, or that coaching, depending on who it is. You kind of maybe open your eyes a little more, improve a little more, and I think that is given when you're in tier 1.
Everyone, Sage2 in here. I'm here with Cloud9's Vic after their victory against NRG. And honestly, I mean, just the initial thoughts after that, beat them a second time, beat your former teammates as well, 2 years, teammates kicking their asses in VCT. How does that all feel?
Definitely felt good. I think coming into this match, I think it was ironic. Our first game was NRG again. And now that they have Brock instead of Verno, it's just a fun game to begin with because they both are my former teammates. But going in, I knew we were really prepared, and they didn't have that much time because they had a new roster, but I was really excited to play.
Do you still keep in contact decent bit with your former Moist Shopify teammates?
Yeah, I keep in contact with pretty much all of them. I snap at them every other day. Every day we talk. We go out occasionally. Same with Brock. I'll hit him up. Odorous in EU. I talk to him almost every day too. So most of the guys on Moist I'm still up to date with.
It seemed like that team was just really close because you're playing with most of them for 2 years, right?
Yeah. We were close. I think just spending time every day at boot camp and kind of just talking to each other every day. I think most of us morally are similar people and have the same interests. So I think just over time we kind of just became closer and closer.
I actually just wanted to kind of ask you quickly about playing there because 2023. I feel like you guys are a mid-tier, top-tier team. Yeah. But then 2024, I feel like that team looked like they were kind of favorites to qualify for Ascension. Being, you talk about how close you are with everyone on that team. What was it like when you had 2 opportunities and you just kind of miss out? How do you look back on that whole experience?
I think 2023, we had big names, I guess, on our team. But we just didn't really mesh well with everyone, and I think because of that we kind of were dysfunctional in a sense, and that year kind of fell through our hands and we couldn't really improve at the rate we wanted. While going to 2024, we kind of changed the approach to instead of playing with big name players, I guess, former tier 1 players, it's better to approach what we want, if that makes sense. Adam was always insane duelist. I had potential too, but we never really got to show it. So I think the org, I give a big shout out to Shopify. They really let us rebuild with how we saw the game and how we thought we would thrive, and they kind of let us do it. And leading into 2024, we got to show how good we were, and because of that, we're here now. But overall, I think just being able to be comfortable and playing with the people you want and having a good support system is the biggest thing for all of us to thrive.
Yeah. Do you feel like it was really easy for you to play at your best because you're actually friends with your teammates as opposed to just they're only going to really like me if I'm shooting heads or not?
Yeah, definitely. I think because we're all good friends, we're able to connect in and outside the server. So when it came to just playing, we're able to enjoy each other's company, and every day didn't really feel like work in a sense. It was just 5 players playing and having fun, and we're all working towards a common goal. And I think that's how every team should be.
So I've actually watched some of the C9 podcast episodes, and I actually have fun watching that a lot. And it seems like you kind of have a fun little vibe in the team. You talk about how you're really close with that whole Moist Shopify team, but kind of what are the differences in terms of your teammates, just as people in Cloud9? What's it like just having new teammates for the first time in 2 years like that? I
think coming into this team, I didn't really know anyone that close. But over time, I think, me, Oxy, and Zeppa are all Vit. So a lot of us are just all of us are it's very similar in the way we grew up. And I think it's very comforting having people like that. We get along really well. And not saying Net and Mitch we don't get along, but just those two, just naturally closer in a sense, I feel like. But everyone is very open-minded. Everyone is very nice to each other. And I think over time, I'm going to get to the point where I was with MXS with these people on my team now.
Yeah, it's kind of like more of a time aspect where you need more time to get to know them, their ins and outs more.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I mean, you had 2 years with MXS and you're all close with that team.
Yeah.
Additionally, I feel like Filipino and Viet kind of have a lot of similarities because I'm Filipino and then I'm dating Viet. So then I feel like there's some decent bits, at least with the food and things like that.
I agree. But Michael or Net, he's half Filipino, I think, and half. Actually, I don't know if he's full or if he's half. But it's just more of like the words we'll use sometimes. Like we'll just say Vietnamese phrases and people will get it, you know, and you can joke around. And I'm not saying anything against Filipinos, but I'm just saying Net doesn't understand. That's all. That's all I gotta say.
Oh my God. Okay, so I've been trying to learn Viet. Yeah. I have like a almost 150-day Duolingo streak. Okay. And girlfriend's Viet, lives in OC. That's literally Viet. Yeah. That language is so hard to learn. It's so many inflections. Did you grow up speaking Viet?
In my house, I spoke Viet. And I'm not saying I'm fluent Viet or anything, but I understand it. We all understand I have like my like Viet English way of speaking it. And everyone like, I know like little phrases, little stuff, and I can speak it with everyone. They'll understand, but I'm not like super fluent.
All right. I'm like even worse most likely, but I just want to quickly do a sentence thing. All right. Xin chào.
Xin chào.
Yeah, xin chào. Tôi là Sage.
What do you want me to say? That wasn't bad.
Thou?
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. No, but that's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool that you're able to kind of just share that whole Vietnamese aspect and all that. So then I also just wanted to ask you, about the off season a little bit as well. You only had really like a week with a week with that whole 5-man core, right? So you didn't really get as much preparation. So then during this time off, for you specifically, what was like the biggest thing that you wanted to work on, being in the team and being a tier 1?
I think during that week leading into kickoff, we had like a week and a half, 2 weeks max to adjust to the new meta, adjust to each other, and get ready for like 5-6 maps to be prepared. It was very I guess hardcore in a sense, and we couldn't really like show what we wanted. Everything was kind of bare bone. I think leading up to split 1, we had 2 months now. We got a lot more comfortable. I think a lot of us gained confidence and comfortability within each other and able to understand what we wanted in a sense where it's like team chemistry to you're playing together and we're not really calming as much because we know what we like to do and what we want to do because we've been in the situation before, like stuff like that, and that just kind of happens over time. But leading into split 1, I think all of us kind of just worked a little harder than kickoff because we know what it is to lose now and we want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Because I spoke to Oxy during media day and he talked about how the communication was the biggest thing that the team wants to work on. From MXS to C9, what are kind of the big differences in communication style for you? Are you talking more in C9, like the whole team, or were comms just quieter? Like, what was it like?
I think on this team, I might speak just as much or maybe a little less because there is so many more people talking on this team. On Moist, I think I had a voice, but I wasn't crazy. And I think same with this because everyone has a voice, if that makes sense. Everyone's always talking. So I'm kind of in the spot where I'm talking to where I need to and I try to give important information. I think compared to tier 1 and tier 2, I don't say like it's a big difference, but I think just players are just a little more dialed in with what's going on. I think compared to like in tier 1 where if this happens, people already know what's going to happen next. I think in tier 2, I wouldn't say it's not the same, but I think it's not looked upon as much, because maybe like the quality of players you're playing with or like the coaching system. I just think that because you're in tier 1, a lot of the stuff that is being pointed out is like it's like really important and people need to improve on. While in tier 2, it's kind of maybe shrugged off a little.
I actually want to ask you then, because I've seen in other pieces with just tier 2 players, like I think Xander's talked about it, or Verno. They talked about how it kind of felt more like CS2, where there's not really like a distinct difference in terms of talent between tier 1 and tier 2.
Yeah.
You know, having played it in both tier 2 for a long time, now tier 1. Do you feel like the line is a little more blurred than people might think, or do you feel like there's very distinct differences between teams in VCT versus VCL?
I think the line is a little blurred. I think there's a lot of insane tier 2 shown in the past, 2023, 2024 that moved up and done incredible things. But I think the like base of a tier 1 player compared to tier 2 is there. Not saying tier 2 players don't have that. It's just the fact that when you're in a tier 1 team, there's more structure, or there's more to the game, if that makes sense. So where you might not experience in tier 2, and you just need the opportunity to experience that structure or like that coaching, depending on who it is. You kind of maybe open your eyes a little more, improve a little more, and I think that is given when you're in tier 1. While in tier 2, you're kind of forced to play at like that standard, if that makes sense.
I see. I just have a couple more questions. Well, one of them is honestly just the final words, but this one is because you were playing in tier 2 for quite some time, even kind of tier 3 with the T1 Academy stuff, right? What do you feel like would help improve the scene most, or what were things that you wish you kind of had at that tier 2 level to make it easier to get to this point?
I think I think the biggest thing is just coaching, in my opinion. I think on T1 and on MXS, I pretty much only had one coach. So like I had coach, and I think in this game, there's just so much going on. There's so much to improve as a player. And in my opinion, it's kind of hard to just do something as one coach. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I just think if there's two coaches really like dialing and working with all the players, I think it really improves you as a player and the team. So I think that's like a big reason on someone's improvement.